Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Super glad to see you as always. So, we're in a hot sellers market in 2017. What does that mean? Lots of new investors coming into the marketplace. So that means more competition. It means there's a lot less deals, right? Or does it? It means there's a lot less of one type of deal, and we're going to get into that here in just a second. But I want to point out that this is the year and this is the time you need to learn about creative financing, because in 2018, 19, 20 going forward, this is where you're going to make a lot of money. So today we're talking about creative financing, how to use interest rates and manipulate interest rates for higher profits on each deal, and basically how to do wrap mortgages. And we're going to go over a case study here in just a second, because a lot of y'all liked the other video we put out, how to make $27,000 on a house that 30 plus investors walked through before us. And so you should go check out that video, because also we talked about I'd film a video for wrap mortgages, and some of y'all contact me and said go ahead and do it. So we're getting on it right now here today. We're going to get this out to you shortly. So I want to talk about the power of creative financing, because on that deal, we were definitely not the first people that got there. We weren't even the second, third, fourth. In fact, there was a ton of investors that got there before us, but they were all one-trick ponies. And that is why you don't need to worry about there being a bunch of new investors, because they only know how to do new investor strategies. So what we did on that house was we paid cash, we sold it on owner financing, so we created a note. We were the bank, we created a note and deed of trust. We seasoned it for 6 months, which means this: we basically made that tenant buyer pay us 6 months of payments, which created a situation where that note buyer said this is a less risky deal, and they paid us more for it. They almost paid us face value, which is basically what we owed on the note. We sold that note and we made almost $30,000. So we bought it cash, created a note, sold the note. I know it's a lot, but guys, if you figure out how to do this, you're gonna make a lot of money. So in today's example, we're gonna be talking about wrap mortgages, another way to make money using creative financing. But I wanna address this issue right now. A lot of y'all are worried we're in a hot sellers market, which means what? It attracts a bunch of new investors. Why? Because everybody hears there's a ton of money being made in real estate, which there is. So that means there's a lot of new investors, which means that what? Well, if there's only this many deals before, say there's 1,000 deals when there's 1,000 investors, and now there's 5,000 investors and there's still only 1,000 deals, yes, that means there's less deals. But it means there's less low-hanging fruit deals. That means there's less deals that an amateur can go out there and offer 50 cents on the dollar for and pick up that deal. So for example, if there's a house that needs creative financing, and to do that deal, that homeowner has to get an experienced investor that can come in and buy that house a special way. And they call 5 companies from postcards or internet sites or however they do it. In a new seller's market, you're gonna have a higher chance that those investors that come into that house competing against you are brand new investors, which all they know how to do is pull out their calculator, hit 0.5 times what they think the house is worth, and make that lowball offer, right? So if 5 new wholesalers come to that house, they're all offering the same price. You come in, you say, hey, here's what I can do. We can wrap your mortgage, or we can do this or that. Guys, you're gonna have a huge advantage, because those other investors' inexperience makes you stand out here while they're down here. Now in a tougher market, when there's not as many new investors, which is funny that I say that, guys, because y'all would seem to think that in market right now when there's lots of new investors, this would be a tough market. I think a tougher market is when there's not a bunch of new investors and when there's less competition. So you gotta kind of flip that paradigm and that thought process, guys, because right now is a great opportunity to make money. You just need to know how to do it. But let's say 5 other investors come up and a few of them are creative finance investors just like yourself. Now you have a little bit of competition for that property. So you don't need to be worried about new investors if you know how to do what we're doing today. So go ahead and watch those other videos we put out there talking about how we made money on a house that 30 investors went through, as well as the video talking about don't be worried about your competition, because in my opinion, the more competition, the more opportunities we have to make money and separate ourselves from these new investors. And so guys, watch this video, learn how to do this, and make some money in this for your business this year. And let's go ahead and get into this example, because I want to talk about this. So go ahead and go to this website up here, guys. It's called amortizationcalc.com. It's just the word amortization-calc.com. We have no affiliate or no affiliation with this company. It's just a good resource for you to use, because the sooner you can learn how to work with interest rates and learn how to be the bank, the more money you're gonna make and the more opportunities you're gonna have, because all those deals that you didn't realize were there, you're gonna now see. Just kind of like how you walk around your house and you're trying to find your keys or your phone, and you walk by them over and over and over and you can't see them. And then all of a sudden you just look down and their keys were right there all along. That is the same way the deals are gonna appear to you once you understand how to find these types of deals and structure these types of deals. So there's deals everywhere. You just need to look down and basically say, oh yes, that's a deal. Because if you don't know how to kind of acknowledge a deal, how are you gonna know how to do it, and how are you gonna know it's right there in front of your face? So hopefully this points out a way to make a deal happen that y'all can go forward and use in your business. So let's look at this. There's a house right here, guys. let's assume that this house was bought by this nice little family right here. So this is the Jones family. They got 2 little kids, and that's my best drawing of a dog for you. So it's a nice family, a basic starter house for most people. But they go and they create a loan, right? So they got a mortgage here, first position mortgage, 30 years, 4.25%, $80,000 still owed to the bank, breaks down to a payment of $394. Principal is $110, interest rate's $284. Now you can see why the banks have the biggest building in every city, because look how much they make compared to how much is going towards the house at the beginning of a mortgage. And as it goes along the course of the years, those numbers start to change places, and you add more towards the principal amount. So let's assume that this family was all excited about becoming a homeowner, and they bought the house, and day one, they freaked out and panicked and realized they made a bad investment, or they had to move, or for whatever reason, they have to sell it the same day. So it's still gonna be the exact same mortgage amount, so they have about $80,000 owed. Now, they realized that they made a bad buy. Let's say that they realized that this house really isn't worth what they paid for it, and the bank kind of let them down and did a predatory loan and just got the loan out, and now they're stuck with it, and it needs about $15,000 to get to market value. But the problem is it's only worth $95,000, $100,000, so they can't sell this house now because no one's gonna buy it, because they need to be able to come out of pocket to close it, because after someone pays the market value, they're gonna literally have to put the repairs in and have the closing costs and realtor fees out of their pocket. And so they may have to write a $4,000 or $5,000 check. So they're literally stuck. They can't sell the house retail. So what are they gonna do? Well, say someone like myself comes up and say, hey, I'm a real estate consultant. What if you did a wrap mortgage and sold your house on owner financing to someone else? I can help you get out of this mess because I understand creative financing. So I can come in and I can actually get paid in multiple ways. I can either structure the deal with them, or I can get paid as a consultant to teach someone how to do this. Guys, we make money a lot of different ways in our business as far as knowing what to do, and not all the time are we buying the house. I make a lot of money just being a consultant. So kind of keep that in mind. It's another way to make money. We also put a video out on a different way to do consulting, negotiating rehab and renovation budgets down for someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So I come in and I show them, hey, let's create a second mortgage and wrap this. So that's why we got the first mortgage here, and I drew a bigger one here. So they're gonna sell the house to the Smith family right here. Now, the Smith family, they've been trying to get a house. They want to become homeowners. They're tired of being tenants, and no bank wants to work with them. Their credit's not that great, so none of the banks are willing to work with them. So they're in a tough spot, but they want to be homeowners, and they're tired of renting apartments. So they know the Jones family, and they work out an agreement, and I help them get this deal done. And so I say, hey, look, why don't you pay them $110,000 for this house, and they'll sell it to you on owner financing, create a second payment. Now, why would they do this? And why do people pay more for a house on owner financing than a traditional retail sale? It's because the buyer pool is bigger. When you have a retail sale, you have only the amount of buyers that can buy with a bank loan and get qualified for a bank loan. Now with owner financing, you introduce all the new buyers into the marketplace that can afford the down payment and that the owner finance seller will accept, right? So now the buyer's pool is bigger, which means more people fighting for the same house, which means the price gets driven up. Plus, people are willing to pay more for a house to become a homeowner because they're adding value in their mind on what they're willing to pay to become a homeowner versus a tenant. So if it means paying a little bit more to get the house that they want and live in an area that they want, they're going to do that every time. So they've agreed to sell this house to them and wrap the mortgage around it. So right now we're going to have the first position mortgage right here, the $80,000, the original mortgage. Now they're going to sell this house and create a brand new deed of trust, promissory note and deed of trust, and wrap it around. So now there's a second mortgage wrapped around this one. And what happens is they pay $110,000, $10,000 down, 30 years, 4.25%, which is the exact same loan structure they had here before. But because they took $10,000 down, they're not financing 110, they're only financing 100,000. So when it comes down to it, they're financing 100,000 at 30 years at 4.25%. The Jones family put $10,000 in their pocket. That is a benefit to them. So the benefits to Jones is this: they get $10,000 cash in their pocket. As you know, they didn't even have the money to write a few $1,000 checks, so this money to them is a lot of money at the moment. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sold their house and panicked. And also, they get the house sold, and you're going to see that they're going to get to make about $100 a month and not have to worry about making that big payment and basically ruining their life. And the benefit to the Smith family is they get a house and get to become homeowners and get to own a house that they wouldn't have been able to qualify with a bank loan. So it benefits everybody all around. And if I'm the consultant in the middle, I get paid for doing so and helping two families change their life. So let's look at it kind of like this. They finance $100,000, 30 years, 4.25%. Their new payment's $492, principal $138, interest $354. That creates a payment of $492. And yes, guys, there is taxes and insurance in here, but we're throwing that out for case study purposes, we're just looking at P&I. Take this over here, 394. So basically now the Jones has basically $100 spread. So they've got a mortgage that they owe to their bank. They've got a new mortgage that the Smith family owes them. So every month the Smith family pays the Jones family $492. They take the $492, pull the $394 out that they owe the bank and pay the bank, and what's left is $100 in their pocket, plus originally they got the $10,000 down, and they don't have to worry about anything. So, but there is a risk that you need to make sure you know who you're working with, because the Smith family needs to make sure the Jones family is actually taking this money and paying off the underlying loan, because if they're not, they can get foreclosed on, which is a risk for them. So now guys, I hope you kind of see how that works. They're wrapping a mortgage around, but I want to talk about now the power of an interest rate. So the sooner you learn the power of interest rate, the better. So we talked about a case study one time about how you can buy a house for $100,000 at 0%, turn around and sell that house the same day at $100,000, 10.25%, and over the next 30 years, you're gonna make over $200,000. So I'm gonna show you the power of an interest rate. So this is the same example, same house, finance $100,000, the same amount, but the only difference is we're changing the interest rate. So this is more of an investor example, because what is the bank doing? A bank is borrowing money at a lower interest rate, selling at a higher interest rate, and creating the spread, and they're using financing to make the money over time. So in this example, we're using 10.25%, which is pretty typical for what I use as my owner financing rate here when we do our houses. So the difference is between the payments is $492 to now $896, which is a lot more because your payment is now $42,854. Now, if you bring in the original payment and interest, you got $896 minus $394, which makes a $502 cash flow. So if this was an investor and they had a bank loan and they sold it on payments, they're making $502 cash flow. Now, that's a lot of cash flow. That's a lot more than a lot of people get on their rental properties. And what else does this investor not have to worry about? Toilets, tenants, right? They don't have to worry about anything because these people now own the house. So that's why people like owner financing, and there's a lot of benefits to it. So guys, that's kind of how it breaks down. You have the original mortgage that the homeowner had before. You're wrapping another mortgage around, selling that house on owner financing, wrapping it around, and you're creating the spread that in between. Now, a lot of y'all are gonna be worried about what's up here. What I have up here is called the due on sale clause. And what that means is the banks have the right when there's a new note and deed trust created and basically the property is sold, that they can call the due on sale clause anytime they want, instantly, which basically accelerates the foreclosure process. And so they basically can call the note due right then and there. And this is what a lot of gurus are out there scaring people. Like, everybody's also worried about the due on sale clause. Guys, I've only known this to actually happen to a couple people over like a 30-year period. It's so rare and it's so unlikely that you shouldn't be worried about it. And why should you not be worried about it? Banks want what? They want the payment. They don't want to take a house back, especially a house that has no equity in it. They have enough headaches trying to get payments on their own houses. If you're making those payments, guys, they don't want it back. The only time you really should be worried is, you know, they may take it back. Say you take over a property that for $100,000 that's got $400,000 in equity. Yeah, they may take it back. Why? Because there's a ton of equity in the house, but you know, you'd be able to sell the house quickly and get out of it anyway. So you can still, there's ways to get out of it. Don't even be worried about this. This is just a distraction. So don't let all that fear-based nonsense get into your head, because it's really not going to affect you that much. So that's kind of how it works, guys. A wrap mortgage, go ahead and wrap it around. Now, it's easier to get someone to do this, to take a wrap mortgage offer than it is to get a subject to offer, because everybody's so obsessed with a subject to. But the difference between a subject to and a wrap mortgage is one usually has a deed of trust and the other one doesn't. So when you buy a house with someone's wrap mortgage, they get a note and deed of trust. When you buy a house with subject to, a lot of times there is no deed of trust, which means there is no remedy for that seller of the house on the front side to get their property back. And now that's a whole nother video, which we'll probably get into later. So guys, I hope that helps. Learn how to do creative financing. Step out from the big pool of new investors to pick up all these deals that nobody else knows how to do. Because guys, there's a lot of money. I think a lot of y'all would like to make $502 a month and have no risk of repairs and dealing with tenants and tenant turnover and having to deal with the normal headaches a landlord has to deal with. So guys, if you like today's video, please share it around, help people find this channel, like it, comment, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on the next video. Have a good day and good luck with your business.